Craig McCracken has given us some of the best animated shows of our lives, from Powerpuff Girls to Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. The newest of his ventures, Wander Over Yonder, is a hilarious new show on Disney XD. But looking back on Craig's work, there's Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, and there's Wander Over Yonder. Wait a minute. Wander looks very familiar, doesn't he? Wasn't there an orange character with the big green hat in Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends? Creaky Pete, right? And he looks almost exactly like Wander from Wander Over Yonder. So could Creaky Pete actually be Wander? In the Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends episode, Trouble with Scribbles, we are introduced to the wise old Creaky Pete. When we take a moment to look at both characters, Creaky Pete sure does share a lot of similarities with our planet-hopping friend Wander. This conspiracy, originally found on Tumblr, proposes that after many years of traveling the galaxy with his best friend Sylvia, an older Wander decides to finally settle down on Earth under the new identity, Creaky Pete. And Madame Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends is the perfect place for him to hide. Because who would suspect an alien amongst a bunch of imaginary friends? So at this point, you're probably wondering what happened to Sylvia, Wander's loyal steed and best friend. Well, here comes our regularly scheduled "Your childhood is ruined" moment. Sylvia died.
No!
Of old age, of course.
I'm so happy we all got out of there in one piece.
So don't get too bummed. We're sure she lived a long, happy, and very snarky life. Now, before all you die-hard Foster's fans storm the comment section with your pitchforks, saying that this conspiracy could never be real, because we've seen Creaky Pete's creator and we know that he's an imaginary friend, not some alien. I'm going to pose this question. Are we really sure about that? In the Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends TV special, Good Will Hunting, Creaky Pete is shown with an old man. This man and Creaky Pete have the exact same beard, and they're even shown rocking in the same rocking chair, which is why many people assume he is Creaky Pete's original creator. It makes sense, and I do understand where this is coming from, but has it really been confirmed? No. The series never really goes in depth into Creaky Pete's backstory, so we're left kind of in the dark. So now let's really compare the two of them. Wander and Creaky are both hairy creatures with the same color scheme, orange and green. Their hats are so similar. They both have circular eyes and are both rounder on the top and taper towards the bottom. Could you really call it a coincidence that Craig McCracken created two characters that look so similar? All this information has really got my brain gears turning. So since this conspiracy is mostly riding on physical similarities, let's start with that. Well, first of all, and most notably, Creaky Pete doesn't have legs, and Wander definitely does. He even wears some cool blue kicks. I mean, maybe at some point his legs just fell off and now they're floating out somewhere in space. Stranger things have definitely happened on both of these shows. But also, Creaky Pete says he's been around longer than he can recall and loves to tell stories. Perhaps some of those stories are about intergalactic adventures that feature a loyal blue horse friend. So at this point, the theory could really go either way. Or not. On August 14th, 2014, Craig McCracken settled this discussion on Twitter. When asked if Creaky Pete and Wander were the same character, McCracken said, "No. Wander and Creaky Pete are two different characters." So based off of Craig's statement, I'm gonna have to give the Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends Wander Over Yonder conspiracy 0 orange beards out of 5. Here's what you guys thought about this conspiracy. Screaming Cereal wrote, "What if that's his grandpa?" Interesting point, but can imaginary friends even have grandparents? JellyJam115 said, "Can imaginary friends even grow up / physically age?" This I actually don't know, and I'd be really interested to hear the actual science behind imaginary friends. The Gaming Snake 1130 said, "I think this. Wander Over Yonder took place before Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Maybe post-apocalyptic." Now that would be really cool, and it actually could make a lot of sense. Cassidy Crystal wrote, "Maybe this could be true, but we have to remember, same artist, there are gonna be some similarities." True, and this is also the same reason people think Danny Phantom and the Fairly OddParents also take place in the same universe. Thank you guys so much for watching this rather disappointing episode of Cartoon Conspiracy. If you guys have a suggestion for a conspiracy you'd like us to cover, send us an email or even make a video and we might feature it. Make sure you guys join the Channel Frederator Network and subscribe to Channel Frederator, and I'll see you guys next week.